Hey, what's up everyone? Upstart here with RyXe Gaming, and today we're going to be starting a playthrough of Dark Bestiary, because apparently that's the proper pronunciation for this according to, Google. Um, but I've always pronounced it Bestiary because supposedly this word Bestiary, um, apparently not Bestiary because there's no A there, uh, does in fact have something to do with beasts, creatures, and stuff like that. More on the mythological side, apparently, according to the definition. But that, yeah, it has something to do with animals, beasts, So it sounds logical that it'd be bestiary. Uh, just because there's an e there doesn't mean the e is always pronounced or e. It could be either or, just depending, right? Vocabulary. These people that made this up and defined it, whatever. I've all my life I've always said it, pronounced it bestiary, so I will continue to do so. But I just wanted to clarify that I know that, well, according to Google, it is bestiary, the pronunciation. But I'm gonna go like this: dark bestiary, and let's move on, right? Okay, so there are not campaigns, two modes that you can play. Campaign mode, which is kind of obvious that it's the campaign with whatever story this has. Um, because as of the according to the description of the game on the Steam store page, it is a uh, turn-based tactical game that has some RPG in it, and it is more focused on continuous combat rather than a deep story. So it's gonna have, I guess, some story, but it's more of continuous combat, just battling and battling, constantly battling. Dream, it takes that even further, where you have to there's like this grid, and you start in a random spot, and then you have to fight bosses. You have to go through like two or three fights, I think. Um, it calls them visions. Each grid, each battle starts. It calls them visions because they're dreams. Um, and well, you know what? Let's just go into here and let me just read whatever it says right here real quick. Just a new game. I've been testing out some classes. I'm just gonna go random here. I'm not even gonna care for what it gives me. We'll just go like that. Just so I had chosen that one. That was the one I liked the most. But anyways, introduction. The dream map is presented in the form of a grid and consists of many encounters. After completing one of them, neighboring ones are unlocked, and the previous ones become inactive. In dreams, you will meet both groups of monsters and wandering merchants or altars. In this mode, you have to control the level of sanity. This parameter affects the strength of the monsters and the number of rewards at the end. You lose sanity with each completed dream, and also when using some skills. To win, you need to complete 3 stages of dreams. To complete each stage, you must defeat the boss. You can fight him at any time, but in order to win, you need to be carefully prepare. After killing the boss, you are transferred to the next, more difficult stage. But along with the strength of the monsters, the quality of rewards also grows. Your goal is to complete all stages while maintaining the maximum amount of sanity possible. We're not going to play the dream. I'm just going to show it off a little, just real quick, of what this is about. So that's the boss. We can click on it right now and we can fight it. But this is our starting point here, and it took us into a fight right away. But there's apparently 3 fights here, as you can see right here at the progress. I don't know what that means right there, game speed, whatever. But at the top, left hand corner, there was the purple bar there. That's where it basically showed the amount of sanity you have. I think you start with 2.5k or something, and whatever, you have to complete this fight, and you can do as many fights as you want, as many encounters as you want. But there are 3 stages. The first boss, which is that boss which is apparently the mascot of the logo of this game. Anyways, that's the first boss of the first stage. This entire thing, with all the grid, all the slots and whatnot, that's one stage. You have to beat the boss, then you go to the next stage, and then so on and so forth. You have to beat 3. I don't know what's at the end of this. I'm not really paying attention to that. That's not important to me. So that's where we're going to go back into the main menu. But before we go into the campaign, I'm just going to go over something real quick in the settings. This is my setup right here, what I got going on. There are these options here where you can have always show health, always show skills, and then you can hide all these stuff: health, health, text, skills, and buffs. I kind of like having information in front of me, so I actually do have those ticked on. I don't remember if one of the, I think this one was off originally, but I put that on. I don't remember if that one was off or not. I can't remember. But anyways, the point is that those two are on, and then there's stuff, which apparently that's what it calls it. Originally, by default, I think it's this summoned units controlled by AI is ticked on. So that means you wouldn't control any summons that you would have for any class or for whatever, that would be like an ally, I guess. You wouldn't control them how you would want, and there will be some randomness there, and then so you'd have that may or may not raise difficulty. But I clicked that off because I would like to control what something what a summoned unit that that I brought into combat would do. So I would prefer to do that on my own. I don't want to disable any of these stuff, so I'm gonna leave all that on. I'm not gonna do high contrast mode. And I did activate display formulas in tooltips, which some people wouldn't care about, but I just want to see them there. I don't know, I just feel like it. I don't know, I like it. Anyways, go back. We're gonna go campaign. So I have already done a few tests before this with some classes. I haven't tested all of them because when a class that you play is usually a class that you like, or one that you don't like is one you wouldn't play, right? So I'm not really a fan of the soldier melee kind of class, sword and shield. I'm not really a fan of that. When a game throws it at you like you have to play that by force, then I guess I'll go with that. Or if it's like the better option, then I probably go with that. But sometimes I tend to go towards more range types or assassin types. Even though these are melee, but these are more like stealthy types, which I like. But then there's also the gunslinger. There's also the mage, which I'm not really a huge fan. I do like them more than regular soldier classes. But anyways, the only classes I've only tested 3 classes out, and you'd be surprised that I actually didn't test out the assassin. I tested out the engineer, the monk, and the gunslinger. And after testing those 3 out, I had actually decided on what I wanted to play. So let me just explain real quick how I felt the engineer, monk, and gunslinger worked, and why I didn't choose assassin or why I didn't test assassin, because no, I chose the gunslinger. Let me just get that out of the way real quick. So I tested out the engineer, and this one felt like, because these are the starting skills, each class has their own starting skills. It could have 3, it could have 4 actually. I think there's one that has 4. Yeah, some have 4. I don't think there's any with 2. I think they're all at least 3. I think the only ones that have 4 are the mages. Yeah, the magic casters. Anyways, so the engineer is more like a summoner type class, let's say, because you can summon a dummy to be a tank. It says places a dummy that cannot attack but has a lot of health, basically. Lifetime is 6 turns. Turret, which is basically DPS for you. But it does do a little bit of damage. It doesn't even say how much damage it does right there in the description, but it does a very minimal damage. It does like 5 or 6 damage per attack. And I think it lasts. How long did it last? It doesn't say, but anyways. Then there's the heal bot. So you basically have, but you yourself would be DPS. So basically you have the holy RPG Trinity, MMO Trinity here, with your tank, your heal, and your DPS, even though this is crap. But that's basically what this one does. This one usually does, stays in the back, doesn't take that much damage, but also doesn't deal that much damage. So that doesn't deal damage, that deals minimal damage. And the heal bot can actually also attack. Its heal is free, but it has a cooldown. I can't remember of how many turns, but maybe just 2 turns or something. I can't remember. But it can attack, but it's very minimal as well. The only real damage you're going to be getting out is yourself. But like I said, it's more of stay in the back type class. The monk here is a get in the face of everything, right? Kind of obvious, right? Because it's melee. It's get in the face of everything. It does have some heal. Most of these, I think just about all of them have a heal type thing. Even the gunslinger with the health potion thing. Even the soldier with the health potion. But anyways, I didn't feel like this one did much damage. I feel like it's more on the tanky side because I did take damage, but I didn't take much damage. So I didn't really like that because I felt like it was too slow. That's what I kind of felt. And I felt its skills were a bit lacking in the variability with what it had. I'm going on. I'm like, I don't really like that. So I tested it, but I didn't really like it. So, and this one is a heal, but you have to actually do damage. It says your next damaging skill will restore 30 HP or health. So yeah, I didn't really like that one very much. I just wanted to test it out because the palm strike skill or attack reminded me of something that I like a lot. Actually, I'm actually a lot into Chinese fantasy and or the martial arts fantasy, wuxia, cultivation, shensha. I can't remember which is the cultivation one, and I can't remember which one is the martial arts. But one wuxia, shensha, one is cultivation, and one is martial arts, more combat oriented. The others were more whatever. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into that obviously. And the Gunslinger, which is the one I chose, like I said, this one is a more run and gun type class. Literally, no pun intended. Um, because it has a dash which you can use for free, but it has a cooldown of 2 turns. You dash in a direction. I don't remember how many steps it takes. I guess it just says range 3, so it just takes you 3 steps away or tiles away. Your healing has a bit of a cooldown, but it is kind of good, I guess, because it costs 4 though, but it restores 30, so it's not that bad. It's like meh. This one I kind of like this ability, but the cooldown is kind of like maybe it should just have one. I feel like it should just have one turn to cooldown, but I guess that would be too OP, I guess, and you just be running around like crazy. Nothing will hit you. Double shot is basically almost one shot or one action or one attack kills everything, or each target, right? In whatever, because it's not a multiple target type thing. It's just 2 shots to one, but each shot does 42 to 53 damage, and that's probably just the base damage, unless you have other, more. That's like baseline damage, unless you have any modifiers or anything like that. And then it has 2 shots each gun, right and left-handed. I think the right-handed one or the main-handed one does more damage than the other one. I think it does double what the off-handed one does. But I felt like this one was better. But there is a problem with it, and it does take a lot of damage. That you take a lot of damage, and if you're mobbed and you have like more than 2 enemies, you're gonna get pummeled. You're gonna take some damage. But I did like this one the best, so that's what I'm gonna go for. And I'm gonna choose this hairstyle. We're gonna go with that one because I wanted to use this beard, and I think it looks fine with that one. Any other style didn't feel like it was any good. Like it didn't go with it. So that one kind of does. The dreadlocks. This one, I guess two or three of them go with it. I'm just gonna go full white. I think I like that better, right? No, not that. I'm gonna go brown. Not wait. I thought it was a better brown last time I checked it, but I'm gonna go with that one. I can just go straight black like that, zombie color. But we'll go this one right here, and my usual name right here. So I started up, and nightmares in the flesh will come to him, and the old graves will crumble onto the wet earth. Dark shadows are drowning, choking and rising again from nothingness. Charred fingers in the cold darkness of the night are reaching out and waiting for his call to the ancient eyes of the destroyer of all. Whew, that needed a comma somewhere, I felt. And dragging him into the abyss of their black cradle. Darkness is craving for his soul. It is craving for his outcome. Omens of the Elder Sisters, Revelation 6, Chapter 7. Every night he saw the same picture, which appeared brighter than in reality. He fought his way through the hordes of evil creatures blocking his way to the mysterious man in black. He saw his shadow, but it eluded him every time. Forces pulled him through the abyss, pushed him into the arms of emptiness, each time bringing him closer to the stranger hiding his face. The hour came when he could not endure the terrible abyss that was closing around him, and just threw himself to the mercy of the call. Time after time he felt with all his being that he would meet him. Groaning and whispering ties led him on his trail through ancient ridges and deep rivers. Rebellious souls wished only to find some rest from the madness. A crooked path led him to a meadow, beyond which a decayed village lay in a thick maze. The crows in the trees stared at him in silence, and the acrid stench and fumes spread around him. Okay, so combat. We start with fighting two crows. There's talents, attributes, and all that stuff, but unless we get to there, unless it's something that we have to go in. Right here we have an unspent point, so I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna talk a little bit about this, which even though I haven't really gotten into it myself, we're gonna look at it real quick. Okay, so might is just in general increases your attack power, spell power, whichever. It does both. Ferocity, each point increases critical strike damage by 2%, and this one increases critical strike chance by 0.5%. Constitution is basically your health. You get more health. Each one gives you 15 points. I don't know if the amount that it increases changes as you put more points into here. Probably not. It probably just stays the same. And this leadership one is a bit janky to get the tooltip to show up, but it's basically for summons. Increases minion damage by 2% and health by 1%. And yeah, that's basically that. In my case, I think I would go more for, not really health, because I'm already squishy as it is, and health probably isn't going to help me that much. I think I should. I am a fast attacker. I'm obviously DPS, so I think it would be better either to go into critical chance or go just straight might. But for now, I'm going to leave that as is. I'm not going to add anything right here. These enemies have something on top of them, like little either buffs or debuffs. It is hard to get it to pop up, but you can get the tooltip for it. And like I said, it's kind of hard. I might not even be able to get it. No, I'm just gonna leave that as is. Anyways, 10 action points right here. Not every action requires an action point, but if it has a little green circle with a number in it, that it requires action points, and how many. I'm guessing we can speed up game speed just to make things go faster. I'll go with, let's start with 2 times speed, or maybe 3 times speed, to see how fast that is, and let's see if it's too fast or not. But anyways, I don't have anything else over here. I don't know if I have anything in my bag. No, I don't have anything there. Space to end turn. Swap weapons, apparently, though I don't have any. Other than that, luckily didn't use any action points. I don't know what this is. Your rage. This resource is required to use ultimate skills. I've never, in my test playthrough, I did get rage, I guess, but I didn't get enough. So I don't know how that goes. Like I said, this is like a run and gun type class. You are going to be taking a lot of damage because your dash, like it says, two turns cooldown, and eventually you'll get the enemies will get to you. But anyways, double shot, usually two hits. One shot's an enemy. Usually, it depends. If it has more than 100, you probably won't. But so this is the range of this attack right here. The white is the range. Whatever is in, which means that we can attack it from where we are. Whenever it's red, probably I think you can't. Whenever it's yellow, it means you will have to move either 1 square or 2, depending, to be able to attack. But then that's probably the maximum you're gonna be able to do. This one it is kind of expensive though, 6 action points. I'm just gonna go straight for the one right in front of me. So I had to move forward, and it double shot. I don't like that. Was too fast for me. Let me go 2 times fast, and I only have 2 action points left. This one, like I said, does the main hand weapon does more damage, does like twice as much than the offhand. So that's why it even it has a cost respective to that. So for this one costs 4, but this one costs 2. So we can still attack. We can actually also dash away if we really want to. We can't move closer though, so we're kind of screwed there. Either we move away or we just dash away. I guess I could do that. This one would, to be able to go here, so it only takes us 3 steps forward. We can move wherever we want in that range, as long as it's on the map still, because we're at the edge of this map over here, so we can't any further. But this one I'd have to move, and it's only in the X and Y axis. You can't go diagonal, horizontal, or vertical. I don't know how you say that. I'm just gonna go straight over here, just to get away a little bit, so I can get things to recharge, like my double shot, and we end our turn. So the enemies also have like you can go over them, and they have their little grid that is their attack range. So if I were to stay there, they'd obviously be able to attack me. They'd move closer and I'd be able to get attacked. I don't know if they have any ranged attacks. I guess it just depends on the monster, but there are some that can't attack if you are right next to them or they are right next to you, and their range starts from two or three squares out. Anyways, so right there I got an attack that was pretty high on the, because it's anywhere from 26 to 41, and I think the Raven is actually weak to piercing damage. There you go. So we took that out. Got some loot, some experience. Got 6 out of 33. Our loot is chitterlings, which is basically, it says junk, but it's basically guts. It's worth 30 gold. Raven skull, also junk, worth 60. Shiny, I don't know, it's worth 120. It's also junk. And we got magic dust, which is an ingredient, which is worth 54. I don't know how an ingredient. Well, we got 2 of those. Oh, 2 and 2. Okay. Well, this shiny is actually worth a lot. It's pretty decent compared to that ingredient. But anyways, complete. And this is town, I guess. That's our health right there, our level. This is our XP bar. We have attributes. There are talents. We only get talent points or more attribute points, as far as I'm concerned, via leveling, because that's kind of the obvious RPG mechanic. I don't know if you can get them through purchasing them or something else. So we have the command board. We have the craftsman, tavern, and the arcanist. I haven't checked these out, so I'm gonna check these out on my own, and now I'll be right back to explain it, just in a quick fashion if I possibly can. Alright, so before I end the episode, this is gonna be the last thing I guess we'll do, to try and continue with my new idea that I've got going on of trying to keep things short and productive. With the previous series, I didn't really do that. In a way, I kind of sort of did, and I kind of sort of didn't. I did in the way that I try to just show interesting things, progress, stuff like that. I did make the episodes long just because there's just so much that you have to do in that game, Genesis Alpha 1, that once you come back, after you've done so much, once you come back, there's just so much to show and or explain to see, to what's going on, because you're not going to be there just going back and forth. I'm not going to be recording just going back and forth. Going to this planet, I'm going to go get this. Going to this planet, go get that. Grinding, it's basically grinding. It doesn't need to be there. Anyways, this one seems like it's a shorter game. Well, in a way, like it's it's easier to find a spot to stop rather than the other one. But anyways, so the command board is basically missions, and this is your campaign, and I'm guessing you finish the game or the campaign once you finish this one right here. And I'm guessing each one of these has their specific, a pool of monsters, and the monsters can have these traits, I guess. Then the pool of rewards as well. I don't know if you get all of them, you get one, or it's random what you get. I'm guessing it's more on the random what you get side, but I don't know. And there's one over here, adventure. It says training grounds. It says rewards received. Something tells me that this is the one that we just did earlier, but I don't know why monster traits. It says weakness to fire. If the Raven, if we go over here in the tavern, no, not the tavern, the arcanist, we go into Bestiary. Here's the Raven. So I'm guessing right here is a list of all the creatures you've encountered. I don't know if you encountered or that you've killed or you fought or whatever. I'm guessing it has to be killed, I guess. And here it is, weakness, piercing. We can see all this stuff. Receiving 30% more damage from pierce. So the Ravens are actually weak to the Gunslinger's attacks because those do piercing damage. Anyways, back to the command board. And then right here's our skills that we can add in that we want to use for this. I don't know if it lets us use any more because it doesn't let me click anything in there, or maybe it's just that I don't have them, and it will just show you what you're going into combat with. But I don't have anything else, so that's why I probably like that. But yeah, my damage is piercing damage. Anyways, and there's other missions here that I'm guessing you need to unlock or by levels or something, because I don't know what this number over here on the side stands for, and I can't click on them. It doesn't do anything. 15 all the way to 90, but it jumps 15, 20, 25, 30, and then 40, 50, 60, and then by 10s. Anyways, patrol, I'm guessing, other mission type things. And here's your campaign. Once again, I don't know what the 1 through 1 means. Maybe volume 1, chapter 1, and then volume 1, chapter 18. I don't know. But that's that. Missions, basically, right? And you can redo them, apparently, it seems. But doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more rewards. Probably you'll just get XP, or just discover new creatures to fight and or add to the Bestiary over here in the Arcanist. Probably that's about it right there. What else? Or get yourself killed. Either or, I guess. The vendor. Pretty straightforward. Just sell stuff. You could choose between these things here. It sells stuff, and you can buy your stuff as well. You can sell your stuff to it. There's a button here to automatically sell your junk. But sometimes you may want to keep your junk. I don't know. It just depends. Up to everyone. Anyways, you can divide it by category. So you could just go with that. Pretty straightforward. The black market seems to be like a random pool of items that are available, and you can refresh it for 250. We have 150, so that's definitely not going to happen. I don't know how random it can be. Maybe it can be like items super expensive like this, I guess, like that right there, I guess. Everything, the lowest thing is 626, so I'm not exactly sure how well this works. But just a random pool of items, I could only and or assume. I haven't talked to anyone. We'll talk to the things in a moment. But let's go over here now. Let's go to craft. And this one you can actually go through every single option through the same window. And over here I don't think you can. Nope. Anyways, back over here. Crafting. It's what you'd expect, really. It's just a crafting system. I don't know if you can unlock new recipes or anything like that, or this is what you have, because it basically has just about everything unlocked. From this, I'll call this a legendary because of the orange. To me, orange is legendary, purple is epic, green is good, I guess. I think I can't remember what it is. This is rare. I think this is common or uncommon, I think. And then the gray, if there were a gray, would be like just common or white common. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, and you have your list of ingredients to craft the item. Obviously you need that. We only have this, blah blah blah, your typical RPG MMO stuff. Remove gems. Some items, some armor can have gems. Let's go over here to the market just so you can look at it, because some of these do can have sockets to actually add gems there. I don't know if you can see it right there, empty sockets in the list over here. Empty sockets, you can add gems to that. So I'm guessing that's what that's for. This would be to remove them, but this would be to I guess you could just add them in there for free, like through the inventory. But if you want to add another socket to an armor that doesn't have one, or that you've already used them up and you just want to add another one, maybe there's probably a limit to that as well. And then your requirements or your ingredients or catalysts or whatever you need for that to get that done. And then if you have them added, then if you want to remove them, then there's also that process right there as well, right? Forging, to me, forging seems like, well, it says upgrading, but I would have thought, yeah, so there's you go. So I would have thought that it would have been, forging was like crafting, but crafting is already there. So forging, yeah, upgrading. So you can upgrade a certain amount, a certain type of armor, your armor, whatever in general, or accessories, I guess, because there's also that here. And here's your, with your ingredient list. I don't know if there's a probability of failure or a probability of success. In general, it's the same thing. But that's that, right? It's kind of obvious that you wouldn't want to upgrade something as weak as I'm guessing the quality just means this 111% quality that you see on the armor basically defines if it's the color of the name, which is the common, uncommon, rare, legendary, epic, whatever you want to, however you want to, whatever order you know. This is just quality 100%. Doesn't seem that quality and the durability are the same thing, so I don't think your items will degrade over time and you'll eventually lose them. Probably not. I don't know. These are uncommon items. They're green, but their quality is still below this one. So I'm not sure how that works really. And dismantling over here. So if I were to grab this, I could go there and dismantle it. I don't know what it'll give me. I don't think it doesn't give me an estimate or like a pool of ingredients or things that it could give me from that would come out of that. But you can do that for, you can either sell your these items that you don't need anymore, or you can, if you're trying to get sort of a certain ingredient or something out of it, or that you're looking for, it's probably better to go to this option. But anyways, that's about it right there. We've already gone to the Arcanist for the Bestiary, but let's go to the other stuff. Skills is basically a shop for skills in reality. Here's these icons here, and then these numbers here, and then that last one. They're basically a way to they're filters in a way. Right here you can look for all the ones that are for alchemists, for assassins, for barbarians, blah blah blah. They're other classes, and these are the amount of action points each use or require to use. Right now I don't have anything selected, and this one right here just means that they require rage, and they're basically ultimate skills, right? And you can just click it again to remove that from there. And you have your filters again for melee, all of them, melee, range, magic, or protection. Yeah, blah blah blah. Not gonna get too much into that right there. What else? Alchemy. Basically your typical alchemy stuff for making potions, and or sometimes other stuff that are similar, in the alchemy. They're part of the alchemy branch, like making these spheres, or in this case they each have their particular requirements and things they need to be made. That's about it right there. Transmutation. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but you could probably take certain items to turn them into another random item or something like that. It says transform one ingredient into another of lesser quality. I don't know if this is what you need, or this is if this is the cost, or this is what it gives you. I think this is the cost, but I'm not sure. Transform one ingredient to another lesser of quality, blah blah blah. Suitable for transformation, sphere of ascension, shadow crystal, glowing essence, and magic dust. I only have 2 of that, so even if I wanted to, I couldn't do that. I'm not exactly sure how this one would work. Or maybe there's other stuff as well. You can increase the quality up to 120% of an item. I guess you would have to put that item here, and I don't know if the items that are required, the ingredients, have to go here as well. I'm not exactly sure how that works either. There's a lot of things here that I don't think I'd ever use, like the transmutation, probably the alchemy, maybe, but that's about it. And like the bestiary, however you want to say it, I've already showed that right there. You get the stats and all that good stuff for each creature that you've encountered, I guess, or killed. And the tavern, I haven't gone into here. Stash seems to me like it's a place where you can put like an inventory, where you have your backpack and there's the inventory where you can store stuff away. Obviously you can't, when you're out on an adventure, whatever's in your storage over here, you can't have with you, or you can't use they can't use. Kind of obvious, right? Apparently there are 4 tabs of inventory. So I guess if I were to do that, that's there, and then this is another tab right there, right? Yep, obvious, typical stuff. That's a shift click, control. How do I just get everything quickly? Double click, nope. Shift click, nope. Apparently there's no just grab all. What is this though? That's to sort. Okay, withdraw ingredients, deposit ingredients. Okay, probably that. So let's go with withdraw. I don't know. That's not an ingredient, obviously, so I didn't grab it. Okay, whatever. That's just a storage. And eatery is probably to recover health. Don't know. Increase your health by 15 and reduced physical damage taken by 5%. Is this permanent, or is this like a buff type thing? Increase your health by 24. Or is it, I'm not exactly sure. And there's these over here. Oh, entree, dessert, and drink. Okay. All right. So now let's talk to. Well, let's go to the talk option. So the vendor, don't worry, there are always some coins in my pockets, so I can take your belongings. Fortunately, my pockets are very deep. Talk. A new client. A new client is always a good thing. What is this place? If you're a treasurer or a bookkeeper, it's an unremarkable village for you. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just we simple villagers doing honest job here. But if you're an adventurer, this place is just for you. Farewell. And then I'm looking for someone. I don't think I can help you there. I don't know you well enough to tell you about people. I'm a merchant. Do you know what I sell? What do you sell? Different things. And if you're looking for adventures, then you should go either to the tavern or the message board. I don't intend to stay here for long. Ha! That's what I've said long ago. Farewell. Okay. The craftsman. Talk. Try it on. Hospitality. Greetings, traveler. What are you doing here? What does it look like? Armors, axes, beast traps, door hinges, whatever you want. Evil creatures are roaming around, but here in my forge even the devil will get all sweaty. But aren't you scared? Keeping the heat in the forge is my job. My father hammered the anvil with this very hammer. If death comes for me, I shall meet him as befits me, with my usual hospitality. Where are you from, traveler? I've been traveling so long that I'm starting to forget. Yeah, I remember those. I remember those found after the war, wandering around muttering something to themselves. They lost their minds from what they saw. You're not one of them. Farewell. Arcanist, talk. The old Arcanist. Oh, I knew it! I knew it! I knew that you'd come one day. What are you talking about, old man? I don't think we know each other. I knew it! You came a long way following the dark trail. You are drawn to the power that haunts you and drives you out of your mind. Am I right? Some of this sounds about right. Right, everyone thinks I'm a madman, a deranged, feeble old man who does nothing but fumble with some crumbling scrolls. Yet here you are, standing before me. Will you at least tell me what you know? Oh yes, I will. Darkness has passed over this land. It arrived on two legs, just like you came here. What is this place? Is this a library? As far as your eyes can see, it's knowledge. Both my mind and my frail body are no longer able to handle all of it. But you can. I will help you. Otherwise, my life isn't worth living. Farewell. And in here, the talkative innkeeper. I don't know where you came from, my dear, but you'd better hurry and get out of here out of here as far away as you can. But why? It's obviously you are not from here, if you haven't heard. Misfortune has descended upon our lands, from Raven Meadows to Count's Grounds. Well, those meadows used to be called just meadows before, but the Count's Grounds have been Count's Grounds for as long as I can remember. My grandfather used to go deliver wine barrels for the nobles as dinner, from the crossroads through the forest. Those were the days. Life was no easier, but at least we had some money. I'm looking for someone. Everyone is looking for someone nowadays. Go to the nearby fields. Maybe you will find something there. Thanks for your advice. I'll move on. Just be careful out there. Even the weeds popped out of the ground. The weeds. Exactly. Go and see for yourself. Like treants or something. But anyways, that's going to be all for now. We're going to continue this adventure in the next one. So thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that like button if you liked the episode. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.